program on the rise under Mario Cristobal. Yesterday, they land Milan Paris, a huge wide receiver that they brought in for an official visit over the weekend. And then news last night, the four-star corner Blake Stewart is backing off his commitment from Clemson. And Marcus, is this one that Miami is going to pounce on?
It certainly feels that way. I know defensive coordinator Corey Heatherman loves Blake Stewart. I feel like he's probably the number one or was the number one safety on their board. So to see a guy like him become available, I think it's just music to the Hurricane staff's ears. And Miami has been in the race for him kind of throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Hosted him for an official visit in June. And when I last spoke to him then, or when I did speak to him after that visit, it was Miami and Clemson as far as the top two teams. So now that Clemson is kind of out of the mix here, Miami is in the driver's seat
Yeah.
to gain his commitment.
All right. So, as we said, Mario has this program kind of right where they want it. I know they had a little slip up a couple weeks ago, but gets back on track last week against Stanford. And there's some coaching chaos all over the country. LSU comes to mind. They got a couple prospects that Miami would like to pluck off that commit list, namely five-star athlete Lamar Brown and defensive lineman Deuce Gerald's. Both Lamar Brown and Gerald's expected to star on that defensive line. So does Miami have a shot at either? Weren't they involved with Lamar Brown at one point?
Yeah, absolutely. Lamar Brown did visit for a cookout on Miami's campus over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a prospect that Miami always had high on their radar, and the relationship has been pretty strong throughout his career, his recruitment, especially this calendar year. So I think Miami will make a strong push for Lamar Brown. He's an outstanding talent who could play both ways at an elite level. It's really kind of where Brown wants to play, either defensive line or offensive line. So I think Miami definitely has a shot. And you've seen Miami kind of swing for a big fish like this in previous classes. Some they've hit, some they've missed, but they definitely will be pushing to flip Lamar Brown now, especially with Brian Kelly showing the exits.
Yeah. Of course, they are sniffing around those defensive line prospects for LSU. They always have a couple good ones committed. No surprise, Lamar Brown at the top of that list. When it comes to Miami finishing strong, we know they're going to finish strong. We know they're going to make a splash, especially if they keep winning the way that they are right now. So you got guys like a Calvin Russell, Bryce Perry Wright, Derek Cooper, Justice
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick. Anybody stand out to you? Tank Jones. Anybody stand out to you? You're like, yeah, I think I'm going to pencil him in Miami's class.
Well, out of all of those that you mentioned, I feel like Miami probably has the best chance to flip maybe a Justice Fitzpatrick, just because the contact has been kind of relentless from the Hurricanes between the staff and Fitzpatrick. This is a relationship that goes way back to where Minka Fitzpatrick was being recruited by Mario Cristobal. So Cristobal has a really long established relationship with Fitzpatrick and the family. So, and of course, staying close to home is appealing for any South Florida kid. I think most South Florida kids just want to make sure that Miami is relevant, and Miami is one of the contenders for the
Yeah.
national championship, which they still are, despite their one loss to Louisville this season. So, Calvin Russell, it seems like he is pretty solid with taking his talents outside of South Beach
Really does,
or
yeah.
down here in South Florida, just because I believe the family kind of feels like that's a better option for him. With Derek Cooper, I feel he seems to be locked in with the Longhorns just because Texas has him as their lone running back prospect in their 2026 class, which is something that he likes. And of course, they've put in arguably probably the highest number of legitimate running backs to the NFL. That's something that Derek Cooper definitely likes. I do like Miami's chances possibly for a Tank Jones flip as well. That communication, it continues to continues to be, consistent. And also Nolan Wilson is another guy that I definitely would look out for as well. Miami did flip Hayden Lowe late in
Yeah.
the process last year, so I could see a Nolan Wilson also happening for Miami. But back to the LSU class, I did want to mention DeAnthony Lafayette. That's a guy that Miami's really high on, and I think the the recruiting efforts is probably stronger with him than the other ones that I've mentioned. And the fact that LSU is now searching for a new head coach definitely bodes well for the Hurricanes. But it's all basically coming down to whether Blake Baker, a former Miami defensive coordinator, by the way, stays with the LSU Tigers. I think
Mhm.
that's kind of the key domino to fall here. If Blake Baker stays with LSU, I could see DeAnthony Lafayette definitely staying with the Tigers. But if he doesn't, then that's a guy that I would pencil in for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, and Hurricanes have a plethora of flip targets available to them as long as they keep winning. One of the things that stands out to me, because we're doing a big three check-in here in the state of Florida, rivalry recruiting is huge, and you really don't see the Canes going after many targets on the FSU or Florida Gator commit list. Maybe that just, kind of speaks to where those two programs stand in recruiting right now.
Yeah, not so much the Florida Gators, but I think Miami's still kind of in contention for some of the Seminoles commits, including Jason Lopez, the four-star wide receiver from Chaminade Madonna down here. He's a guy that's Miami still kind of has on the radar.
Yeah.
Yes, Miami did land a commitment from Milan Paris last night, which definitely increases just how good that 2026 wide receiver commit list is. But who wouldn't want the local talent or the Xavier Restrepo 2.0, as we kind of call him down here, based on his size, the number, and you know um, just the way that he plays on the field. I think that's probably the one Florida State commit that you could probably say that Miami is still has on the radar. They
Yeah.
are still have some communication with Tadarius Hughes as well, the safety
Yeah,
out of
he's
Miami
definitely looking
Northwestern.
around.
Yeah, definitely. He's looking at around to different programs like Nebraska
Hmm.
and, of course, Miami. So I think those two guys from the Florida State class are definitely on Miami's radar, but not so much these guys from Florida. I do agree with you there.